there are several things that go into putting an ordinance together, and there are things that come up that you consider, or I do anyway. I don't know if we all do that. I would hope so, but you have to consider different angles on how these would affect people, and it kind of changes the trajectory of where you're going. Yep. So when those things occur, if I don't have it fully ready, I'm not going to bring it before.
They could have sent out a deal today, taking this off of the meeting.
Absolutely.
It didn't have to be announced at 7:30 that we're pulling this from the agenda.
You're absolutely correct. I think that maybe we can get the clerks to get on that in the future. I'm not putting it on them by any means. I'll take the responsibility for it, but we'll try to have something better for you in the future.
Ms. Sanford, you had a question?
I just was going to say, I think that it would, when we do pull things off of the agenda before the meeting, if we could put that out to the public, that would be very helpful.
Thank you.
And I think that's caused the problem, but, you know, I'm just not convinced that you want the council's input before you introduce this ordinance. I'm not convinced. And so.
What?
Well, because he still refuses to bring it to the ordinance committee before the introduction is put on the agenda.
And that's what we passed.
And that's what we said.
Hey, well, I want to explain something here. It was supposed to be on the ordinance committee agenda. I don't know if y'all are aware of that, but it was. Well, it was supposed to be on there, and my understanding was that it was, and so the natural flow of it was to bring it here. This is getting emotionally out of control.
We just need to, look, if we're going to set a rule, we need to follow it. That's all I'm saying. I mean,
I'm just pointing out to you that the natural progression of it, the rules were followed, but it got pulled from that agenda at the last minute, and it was already on the council agenda, is what I'm trying to explain.
So it was put on the council agenda before the ordinance committee?
Before the ordinance committee,
They were put on both agendas at the same time, and then it was pulled, but because this
I saw it on the agenda for the parish council, but I've never saw it on the agenda for the ordinance committee. It never made it to that agenda.
Dean, can you say how that happened?
I'm just saying.
Okay, I'll give you how that happened. Because we had someone writing the ordinance for us. We received the ordinance, and the ordinance had some deficiencies in it. And we had this person write another ordinance for us, and it came back, and it had more deficiencies in it. So if it's not prepared, if it's not ready, I don't do things haphazardly. So
No, I agree with
I'm
you
going
on
to
that.
pull it off until we can get
backing you on that.
until we can get it
But
how it should be.
I'm like John. I mean, it's if we follow our rules that we set and voted on 9-0, it should go to the ordinance committee before it ever hits the agenda for the
Introduction.
Did I vote on that right?
No, I understand.
So can I
I'm just trying
interject? Can I
to explain
interject?
that it.
Everybody else has talked. I want to have something to say real
Well,
quick.
I'm trying to explain what happened first, so let me finish, please.
I think
It
he's
was
already-
supposed to be, that's the way that it was set up by the attorney as well. Ordinance, then for the council agenda. But because the council agenda has to be turned in a week in advance, I think that's how it was supposed to be. And so it fell this way because the council agenda has to be turned in a week in advance. Initially, it was supposed to go on both, is all I'm trying to explain.
Mr. Goff, you had something?
I do. We passed a resolution and it wasn't to say that every ordinance need to go to the ordinance committee. It was that do our very best to take all ordinances to where they can be digested and worked through like what y'all are trying to do now to get it prepared. I think the biggest problem here is trying to put too many apples in the basket in the time frame. I think it needs to go to the ordinance committee meeting. Once it's went through there and had some digest, because you don't know what's coming out of there, and then you have a final draft, then you put it on the agenda. I think where you run into a problem is that I'm just glad to see that it was going to the ordinance committee meeting to start with. Where you have a problem is you try to do both with no openness that it might change. So you have to have it on the agenda. You have to have a draft. If it changes in the ordinance meeting, then you've already put the draft out in for the agenda. You just need to be a little bit more patient. Government wheels run a little slower, and put it on the ordinance committee meeting. Go there, have it, the thought process of it, Once it's approved and done and had it, got its blessing or changed and tweaked, then that ordinance committee makes a recommendation for that particular ordinance to come to this council. Just try not to, I think that's where you run into a problem. You run into a problem because you had too short of a time frame there to have any kind, and I'm not sure why you was in such a hurry, but you had too short of a time frame there to make any kind of adjustments. Not only on the preparation of it, but also to have the people have a voice in it. So, I don't like the way this all went on tonight at all. Not at all. But it is what it is. We're going to grow and move forward. That's all I ask any of these council members to do, is to take it to the ordinance committee, let it digest. Once it's approved or changed or whatever it is, once it's done there, then put it on the next
Then
agenda.
introduce it at the council meeting.
Then put it on the
Mr. Mangus, you had a question?
And I just publicly wanted to say that I think I speak for all of us on the council, that we greatly appreciate the clerks, Ms. Teal, Ms. Caroline, Ms. Raven, for putting things on the agenda. And sometimes we put things on the agenda, and if it gets pulled, that's not your responsibility to let everybody know. So I just want to say thank you, and you don't need to have more work because of our mistakes sometimes.
It's a very important
Is there anything else
ordinance
in the
as well.
council?
It's going to need a
And if
lot
not
of
being,
discussion.
I'd like to see a resolution authorizing myself and the clerk to keep this specific item off of the agenda until it gets heard in the ordinance committee.
I'm not making that motion, and I'm not voting for
And
it.
that's fine, and if that
Yeah,
don't
no, I
happen,
don't want to get caught up in
and
that.
that's fine too, then we'll just pull it, and hopefully Mr. Coates won't put it on the agenda again until the council has had a chance to have input.
Next item.
So we can introduce it the correct way.
Next item.
Well, next time we disagree, I hope that you'll be a little bit more amenable during your disagreements, not get so excited.
Next item.
Well, hey,
Can we move to the next item, please?
When is the
Can we move
next
to the next
time?
item?
Yeah, I am, Billy.
Thank you.
Adopt a resolution to authorize a waiver of section 125, 176 definitions to allow a third address on a 5-acre land. This is in Mr. Joe Erdy's district for Ella Jackson.
Yes, I'm with everybody on the waiver thing. I went and talked to these people. 5 acres, there's 3 mobile homes there, and I basically told them to subdivide, but they couldn't afford it, and relatively on a low income. And I did not encourage them, but at one point they encouraged me because they have, let me see if I can find my note here where I put that at. But they got the Restore program furnishing these poor people with a mobile home, and they got the Catholic daughters that are going to put their sewer system in, their MODAD. And that kind of won me over. It doesn't mean I'm automatically for the waivers anymore. It just meant that they're trying real hard to get this lady to move home next to her family and for a third address. And I respect the council on this. I'm not pressing on it, but I did put it on there for the waiver because the way she went about it, by getting the Restore program ready to bring, the trailer is ready to move in, and the Catholic daughters are ready to do the MODAD and all that. So I got to appreciate that effort no matter what we do.
Motion to authorize the waiver for third address, Mr. Joe?
Yes.
Pardon? Is there a second? Let's make sure there's a second first.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Lonnie Watts?
Mr. Joe, you comfortable with it?
He made the motion.
I made the motion.
All right, is there anyone here to speak for or against this? None being, Ms. Sandy, you want to call for the vote?
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
Yes.
Mr. Shavers?
Yes.
Ms. Sandifer?
No.
Mr. Erdy?
Yes.
Mr. Goff?
No.
Mr. Wascom?
Yes.
Mr. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Mangus?
Yes.
Passes.
Passed. All right. Item 16, adopt resolution authorizing waiver of section 125-15-1 submittals to subdivide in a named subdivision on Gaylord Road. Mr. Goff.
This falls into, I went to the ordinance committee meeting, and we're trying to come up with some process with Ms. Dee Dee and the administration. This is back to the same process of a named subdivision, and it has the acreage, everything, and it fits all the other density and guidelines, and it's just because it was a named subdivision. So the waiver is a motion to grant it because of the named subdivision. We are working on that at the ordinance committee to tweak that a little bit. We're not going to completely eliminate the waivers because the way it is, but we might be able to reduce some of them down, like from 1990 back. So my motion is
Authorize a waiver?
yes, sir.
How old is this how old is this subdivision?
I want to say it's 75 or 80.
75,
I can't
okay.
remember.
1975.
It's way back there. And
Okay,
what we
question.
found so much is that it seems like 1990 is about the right year. So what we're looking at, just so y'all know, and we can discuss it more at the ordinance committee, but we're looking at going from 1990 back, if it's a named subdivision, to allow the planning department to move forward, but it also has to be more than 2 acres that they're dealing with. If it's under 2 acres, then it has to come here no matter what.
I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
Is there a second for his motion?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Shavers. You had a question, Mr. Taylor?
I do. I'm looking at this plot. It looks like it's being brought into split into 3 different tracts. Are these tracts the same size as the rest of the property that's surrounding it? They look much, much smaller than the ones that are actually surrounding it.
I'm not sure what is all surrounding it. I just know that the waiver is only going to give them the okay to move forward. Then they still have to meet all the guidelines to subdivide their property with density and lot size and all that stuff through the planning department.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that this is a named subdivision, and they look like they're splitting one lot into 3 lots, and everything else around it looks massive except these 3 lots. So that's my question.
What happens a lot of times is, and I've explained this to the ordinance committee before, let's say a property in 1975 or 1980, in this particular area in Livingston Parish, it was a very, very rural. So one family might own 50 acres. That's not out of the question. So they subdivide it out or heirs or what have you, and it kind of gets carved up. Well, during that time, when they did that, 50 acres and everybody gets 10 acres and it's 5 siblings, they got 10 acres apiece, well, then it has to be done as a named subdivision. So then, depending on what happens to that 10 acres, the other 10 acres, et cetera, it could get carved up or it could stay as large chunks of property. So to tell you what's around it, and if it had anything to do with this particular property, I don't know. All I know, as long as they meet the rest of the guidelines, then they should have the right to subdivide their property.
Mr. Taylor, does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you.
Any more questions? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Is there any opposed? That motion carried unanimously. Item 17, adopt a resolution to authorize a waiver of section 12551 submittals to divide in a named subdivision, Allison Place. This is located in Mr. Coates' district.
Yes, it's on Paraloo Road, and it's a tract of land that the gentleman is subdividing. He's going to improve the area. He's going to put some mobile homes on these properties, and they're all subdivided, so it's not a mobile home park or anything of that nature. They all have their own entrance off the roadway. It's also, just as Mr. Goff just explained, it's a older subdivision, one of those that fall into that realm of what we're trying to eliminate at this point.
Is that your motion to adopt?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Goff. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
I just
Hold
have
on.
a question. Mr. Coach, what is the property around it? Because we don't have I don't see a picture of it.
The property around it is mobile homes as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is not going to create an undue burden, and they, just because they'll get this doesn't mean that they've been permitted or they've.
No, not
They still have to get MODAD
Correct.
and. Okay.
Yeah, all that would still occur.
And how large is this?
It's upside down. I can't
Like a
see.
little bit over acre, huh? If I'm looking at it right.
You here to speak on this?
You look at the one that's in the curve, it's more than that.
The
Give us
whole,
your name and address, please.
Cody Badgeron, I work for Alvin Fairfield Associates, Dillon Springs. The whole property itself is right at 4.5 acres. So the smallest lot in there is like .43 and the largest is like 1.6. It's a big piece of property.
So how many mobile homes do they want to put on it?
I don't know if it's all going to be mobile homes. He don't even know what he's going to put. He's just dividing it into reasonable sized lots. Right now, it's like I
That's what
said,
I can't see.
4.5 acres, 2 tracks, I think.
I'm sorry, but what does reasonable mean?
So they're about a half-acre lots. That's your typical lot size, for people to build a house on around, usually. So,
Or any of them
and
less
like I
than?
said, this is a 1985 subdivision. They're 5 to 10 acres, just like Mr. Ricky said, that has also been subdivided multiple times. Both tracks on each side have been subdivided into smaller lots than what he's trying to do now.
How many lots are we talking about?
7? 6. There were 6 lots. It was 3, now it's going to be 6 originally. And I think it was actually even more than that before because it was like 2A, which was, I don't even know how many acres it was before that. It's just named, so we need a waiver. It's on Paraloo. They all, if you ever seen on the side of Paraloo, they're big lots.
That could be up to 6, sorry to interrupt, but that could be up to 6 mobile homes on these?
We don't know if we're doing mobile homes. Could be, or it could be houses.
What's the size of each lot?
The smallest is .43 and the largest is 1.6 acres.
Is there
3 of them or 4 of them are .61 acres.
there's utilities on the property?
Yeah, on whatever's on Paraloo Road.
No?
I don't know what they got me.
There's no utilities. It's private water and private sewer.
Yeah, it's all private.
Okay. So you're going to have how many lots?
6 total.
Okay. And you're just going to subdivide them for
Single-family residential houses
mobile homes or
houses.
houses? Okay.
Yeah.
Why is there so much variance in the lot size? You know what I'm saying? From 1 point.
It's just the way they shaped out because like it's in a curve, so it's.
I got you.
Some of them south of there, you'll see the same thing. It's in a curve, so it's kind of triangular,
I got
weird
you.
shape.
I got you.
So we try to make the best we can, and then split that smaller one up.
More questions, Ms. Mangus? Anyone else? All right, let's call for the vote, Ms. Sandy.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
Yes.
Mr. Shavers?
Yes.
Ms. Sandifer?
Yeah.
Mr. Erdy?
Yes.
Mr. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Wascom?
Yes.
Mr. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Mangus?
No.
All right, item 19, committee reports, Finance Committee. Did y'all meet, John, or do you have any
No,
reports?
we did not.
Okay.
In respect to Mr. Erdy, who's a member of the Finance Committee, as well as Mr. Watts and the Hungarian settlement, we didn't meet.
All right. Ordinance Committee, Mr. Coates, did y'all have any report?
Yes, we met, we had several things that come up. Mr. Shavers had one about statistical data on new subdivisions, and that was pulled and needed a little more work on it. Mr. Goff brought up what he just explained a few moments ago about older subdivisions and the resubs. He hasn't got that in written form yet, so he's working on that at this point. Excuse me. And Mr. Burns came in and spoke to us about roadway setbacks, which needed more work as well. So we'll discuss those items at the next Ordinance Committee meeting and anything else y'all may have.
Thank you. Item 20, let's see. Item 18, add roads to the priority list for consideration. I had asked this to be put on there. I spoke with the mayor in detail in Denham Springs, and there's just some streets that we have a list here that we'd like to add, and I'll just go ahead and say them out real quick. Elm Street, Oak, White Oak, Kingwood, 3rd Street, North College, Secret Garden, Benton, Maddie, Summer, East, Sullivan, and Rose, and I'll have a list here for Sandy after this, so you don't have to sit there and watch all that. And I know over half of these probably won't make the list, but if we don't have them on there, they won't be evaluated to determine which ones need it the most. So you had some you want to add?
I have two.
Go ahead.
I'd like to add Pembroke and Newport.
Pembroke and Newport. Anyone else
South
with
Haven.
roads to add? None being? All right. Next item on the agenda is District Attorney reports. Mr. Chris? I'm sorry.
We're going to vote to add them for consent.
Oh, I'm sorry. Would someone be interested in making a motion to add these roads to the list?
I make a motion.
Second by Mr. Shavers. Any discussion? All in favor say yes?
Yes.
Any opposed? I believe that motion carried unanimous. Thank you, Ms. Sandy, for catching me on that. Mr. Chris, did you have any report?
No report tonight, no.
No report from the attorney? Before we adjourn, I would like to say one thing. I got a phone call this past week that the former mayor of Denham Springs passed away. And I don't know if you knew Mr. Jimmy Durbin, but I was with him on the city council for 4 years, and then I served 12 years with him as a councilman while he was the mayor. And look, Mr. Jimmy was a good leader, and if there's anything you think that I do right as chairing, I promise you it came from him. I'm sure there's lots of you that think there's things I do wrong, but especially after tonight. But the truth is, anything good came from Mr. Jimmy Durbin, and he was a leader in Denham Springs. And because of him, Bass Pro Boulevard, Juban Crossing, the vision to annex the interstate out that way, he just had a good vision for Denham Springs. And so I just like to say, I believe he's going to be strongly missed in Denham Springs. So,
Can I tag off of that about
Sure.
Jimmy Durbin? So I wanted to bring this up during the end tonight anyway. So we had a litter pickup that was phenomenal last weekend. It's Love the Boot Week. And I remember, when I got the word that he had passed away, I thought, oh my gosh. I thought to donate to honor my District 5 pickup to Jimmy Durbin, because years ago, I don't know how many people remember, Denham Springs was a shiny, cleany place with him as the mayor, and he really just inspired me. All these years later, when I'm a runner, when I'm running, I pick up litter. I pick up litter wherever I go and try to leave a place that I've been cleaner than I found it. And he's always in the back of my mind. And so I just wanted to bring that up and then elaborate. We picked up 388 bags of litter in District 5 Saturday morning. That is phenomenal, and thank you to the people that participated. And to add on to that, if you just walk outside of your houses, to the people that are listening out there everywhere, and pick up the litter in your ditches, it does matter, and it does make us beautiful, like we are.
Any more comments, Mr. Banks?
Thank you so much to District 6, to my beautiful wife Brandy, to Miss Teal, and to so many others that came out. Thank you so much, because I dropped the ball on that. I was not healthy for that, and thank you. I don't know how many bags we picked up, but it was a lot. And as my father always said, is when people would ask, like, how do you keep your car so clean? You don't let it get dirty. If we could just all do that. We just don't let it get dirty. Pick up the trash. We won't have to worry about it. Maybe Love the Boot will never have to happen again if we just do that.
Any more comments?
Yes.
Oh,
Go ahead, Brian.
No, go ahead.
No, I'll go. Okay.
Yesterday was Administration Day, and I want to, on behalf of the Livingston Parish Council, I want to thank Sandy and Raven for all of their hard work that make this council that helps us operate. I bought you both a gift. I have one for Caroline, and so I want to thank y'all for everything that y'all do, y'all's help, y'all's guidance.
The glue
Yes, the glue.
that holds us.
So, and I have these cards for you too as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Coach, you had something? Push your mic down in the...
All right, I would like to say that not this weekend, but the coming up weekend, during that first weekend of May, we have the Tickfall 200 coming up. Biggest tourist event that we have in the parish. So if y'all have never been, go out there. You can go by one of the bars. They've got other areas where you can go watch this show, and you'll have beautiful boats come by all day long. It's a really spectacular event to go see, and I would invite everyone to go check it out. Not this weekend, but the following weekend. This coming weekend, we have Spring Fest, and the Republican Executive Committee will be out there trying to promote good conservative values and things of that nature. We can get you signed up to vote. Anything that we can do to explain our positions to y'all or whatever, y'all please come out for that.
I'll also be cooking out at Spring Fest, so if y'all want to come out and see me, we'll be at Eagle Eye Care. We've got smoked turkey legs, pastelaya, pulled pork sandwiches, homemade potato chips. So if y'all want to come out, yeah, we'll have it all.
Thank you, Billy. Motion, Mr. Joey?
I got one comment.
All right, go ahead, 1 second. Let Joe go ahead.
Yes, not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, what is it, the 4th, I believe, we have our second annual Spring Hungarian Festival, Spring Fest, rather, at the Hungarian Presbyterian Church. And we will have plenty more food. If y'all want to come eat and put on some more weight, y'all more than welcome to. Just come out and get it. And we're going to have vendors and, like I say, good food. There'll be a tour guide. There'll be the museum tour. And there'll be plenty other just things for sale out there, because people do come. And last year we had terrible weather and we got packed. If we have good weather this year, we should triple the amount of people, because we didn't have a good weather day at all. We still got a lot of people. That's a week from this coming Saturday at the Hungarian Church on Hungarian Presbyterian Road. Okay.
Mr. Goff?
Yes, I have 3 different things, very short.
I don't believe
One, the organization, and y'all heard the young lady in the absolute outstanding presentation with SAD that she put up. If you have any youth, ask them just to Google that and search it. Just give them that nod. Let them do their thing. They'll do what they need to do with their peers. But this as an outstanding organization and group of kids that they truly do make differences in these kids' lives. And these kids go through a lot right now, and everything's at their fingertips. Second thing along that same line is we had a gentleman here tonight that was in World War II. And we said the pledge. Every time I am asked to lead the pledge, I basically ask everyone to put your hand on your heart and feel your heartbeat and realize that there's a lot of people that do not have a heartbeat that have protected that flag and protected our right to be here tonight and make decisions and gather and do fun things like going to the Tickfall 200. So I would ask anyone that's listening to this, along with the youth, that gentleman said tonight at this podium, I'm not sure how many people realize it, but he said that a lot of our youth don't even know what World War II was and what it meant and what people of their age went through. So I would ask that anybody out there, if you have a youth, ask them to do 2 things for you. And that is, 1, Google SAD, 2, Google World War II. And just dive into that and understand a little bit more about what our future is and what our history is. The next thing is Mr. Jimmy Durbin. I served on the town of Walker as an alderman many years ago, and I served there for 12 years. And Mr. Jimmy Durbin was our town attorney. That was many years ago. Very calm, collective, to the point, gave you good advice, etc. And I've respected him the entire time, and we've always had a great relationship all the way through his mayor's race and everything else. And where you see one, you saw the other one, and that's his wife. So I would ask that y'all pray for her and give her strength, because it's got to be tough. As much as we all realize it and miss him, it's got to be really, really hard on her part. So I just ask that y'all take a moment for that, and then ask your youth to do those two things. All right, I'm going to shut up.
Last one.
Last one.
Ms.
I swear,
Sarah
just
Sam.
one more thing. Recycling Day. We have a recycling day that Livingston Parish residents can use in Hammond at Zamurray Park, Saturday, May 4th, from 8 to 12. That's on the Keep Livingston Beautiful Facebook page. I know you may not remember me giving the information, but you can bring, they're taking recyclables, batteries, paint, electronics. It's on the Facebook page, so please look at it. And in the fall, we do have a hazardous waste free dump day coming up, so stay tuned. That's it.
All right. With nothing else to say, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Billy Taylor, seconded by Lonnie Watts. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
I hereby declare this motion adjourned. The meeting adjourned.
It's about